Canadian soldiers and fighter jets have helped to repel a massive assault by hundreds of ISIS terrorists. It happened in northern Iraq. The attack began around 4 o'clock local time in the afternoon on Wednesday in Iraq, when ISIS terrorists used artillery fire, car bombs, and ground troops to try and break through Kurdish lines, including 2 specific areas where Canadian troops were training Kurdish fighters. Here's what happened. Canadian forces, including 2 CF-18 jets overhead, were involved in the battle, which lasted into Thursday. Canadian Defence Minister Sergeant Sajid Jain says Canada continues to evaluate its fight against ISIS. For more on this, though, we're joined by Stewart Webb, who is a defense consultant and editor of DefenseReports.com. I want to talk, if I can, about these CF-18s, Stewart, and the fact that they were involved in this, and whether it changes anything to know that our fighter jets were actually providing air support in this battle.
Actually, it does change quite a lot. We knew that when the CF-18s would be pulled out, that there would have to be some sort of force structure change within the coalition. Of course, as we're pulling the CF-18s out, the Canadian government will have to ensure that some sort of allied coalition air support will be available at a moment's notice for the Canadian forces on the ground conducting their training mission. The other issue, of course, is, were the CF-18s just in the area, or did we actually have to call them out ourselves?
When you hear what Harjit Sajjan has said, Canada's defence minister, on this, what do you make of it? I mean, will there be a reassessment in terms of Canada's mission, or do you expect the Trudeau government to stick to its strategy, stick to its campaign promise, pull those jets out of the air war?
I expect the Trudeau government to actually pull the jets out. And the reason is that the CF-18s are getting old. When we went into Libya, now, of course, we actually conducted 10% of the airstrikes, which was definitely more than we should have, but we used up the flight hours for the 6 aircraft that we had sent over. We've conducted a lot less in Iraq, but as we're trying to restart the process to replace the CF-18s, you'd be imagining that we won't be conducting a lot of airstrikes or missions abroad until that's completed.
I know you've been following this story very closely over the last 2 months. In terms of the way the federal government has handled it, being transparent, being forthcoming with details, has it been clear enough, or has there been a certain amount of confusion in terms of a timeline for pulling the planes, what they will be replaced with? In other words, what is the real strategy? Do we know? Does the government know?
Yes and no to both questions, actually. As for the timeline, our defense minister said that we won't be getting rid of the planes within 3 months, probably 6. In February is the next rotation in the coalition, so probably see the CF-18s maybe getting out around early March. But don't forget, we still have to pack up the bases and everything else and ship all the logistics back to Canada. As for what we're going to be doing, we don't really know yet. The training mission is great for the Kurds, but we're not really giving any assets towards the Iraqi government. And the Iraqi military is what we really need to rebuild, literally from the ground up.
One final question, just in terms of the terminology that's used here. When you hear about combat and you hear about engagement, what's the difference between combat and engagement? Isn't it fighting, either way, any way you look at it?
But don't forget, we're in an advise and assist mission. And this happened when the Canadian soldiers took fire months and months ago. General Macri-Low went out and said, okay, well, 80% is behind lines, 20% is at the lines, and of course, that's where we have to show where the strategies and tactics can be applied to on the actual ground. We are dealing with an irregular force. These guys aren't trained by any government forces, so we actually have to sit down and say, okay, well, this is how you set up your defenses and exactly where they might actually be coming from.
Stewart, great to get you on the program with your expertise as always. Thanks once again for coming on CTV.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.